And
we did a lot of pre-show this morning, you guys. We spent a lot of time preparing for this show.
We did not.
We spent
Narrator. That is actually not true.
We spent a half hour talking about personal issues. And then 1 minute preparing for this show. Yes. What you really need to do is head on over to Facebook Insiders and Locals and meet all your new BFFs is what you need to do at some point today if you haven't done that already, because those are your peeps. They
are so great.
And then after you do that, mosey on over to www.forpatriots.com/chicks. And then you can see this week's discounts and deals. Before they're gone. You're just going to skedaddle if you don't do that today. Okay, you can receive free shipping on orders over $97. Do that. They have a lot of good deals there, you guys. Because
for
you know
the number
what?
4.
I don't know if I've mentioned this, but you in danger, girl.
Oh my God, if there was ever a time to get ready for disasters,
it's now.
It's today.
It's right now. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, for real, because we all in danger.
Mm-hmm. But listen, happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Cheers.
Right. I know. I was just telling my husband in the kitchen earlier, because I was like in a foul mood and I was like, God, all this news sucks. And he was like, he was trying to make me feel better. And he said something to the effect of, it's only because you're smart that these news stories affect you the way that you.
Well, that's nice of him to say.
I mean, this was his attempt at trying to make me feel better. So I was like, everything sucks. Like the world is a disaster. Everything's falling apart. College kids are idiots. I hate everybody. And he was like, if you were just like super dumb and ignorant and you just were like one of those newscasters who read a teleprompter and didn't really know things,
right?
But you would be a lot happier. But it's because you're smart that you're like in a bad mood.
I totally agree. I totally agree. That's very sweet, Ron.
I mean, that's an okay way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Should I do the point of personal privilege about our Twitter account right now? I think
let's do it. Do the point of personal privilege. Get that out of the way.
I think I will. So I don't know if you guys are following us on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it now.
You should.
You should if you're not. But so we were alerted by our good friends at Hammer and Nigel last week that we are no longer coming up in searches on Twitter. So you can see our posts. Like if you follow us, we're coming up like in news feeds and what have you. And it's not like people aren't seeing what we post. But if you go to the search to find our account, we don't come up. It like lists all these other chicks, with different like sorts of names, and we just don't come up for a lot of people. And so a lot of people have been sending us screenshots. Here's what happens when I search on Chicks on Right, like our literal account. You could put in the @ symbol Chicks on Right. We still don't show up in the search. Nope. So I'd sent this, a support ticket or whatever to Twitter saying, what's the dealio? Here's their response. Okay. It says, hello, we appreciate your message and do have more information for you. Sometimes we'll take action on an account or posts based on suspicious behaviors that indicate a potential violation of the X rules. As a result, the visibility of these accounts or posts may be affected. We have more information available, and then they link to the help center. For most accounts, this is a temporary outcome, and if no further negative behavior occurs, the account will eventually be restored to full access and visibility. If your account is locked or suspended and you believe this decision is incorrect, please file an appeal using this form. Well, we're not suspended or blocked, but we're just not available in search. And when we pay for this membership, this subscription or the
$11
premium,
a month, right?
Yeah. One of the benefits of getting that is elevated results in search. So not only showing up in search, but having like a higher relevance in searches. And see, I know, John, like there are some people who can see us in search, but the number of messages that we've gotten from people who can't, even followers of ours, is off the charts. And so this response tells us nothing. It tells us it doesn't tell us what we did wrong. It doesn't tell us when we did anything wrong. It doesn't tell us when this shadow ban started. It doesn't tell us when it will be lifted or if it'll be lifted. And we're paying for this. So
and also based on their message, it sounds like they're insinuating that we did something wrong. Like we did something negative. We did something. We did bad things.
Yeah. So tell us what it was.
What'd we do, Twitter? What'd we do? Except for be conservative. What'd we do?
And look at right in our comments right now. Some people can find us, some people can't.
Right. Exactly.
It's so weird.
It's
I
arbitrary.
don't understand it at all.
Right.
But regardless, we should be showing up for everybody. If they search directly for us, we should show up. And the fact that we're not and that we're paying the monthly fee is ridiculous. So anyway, that is just the absolute state of X. Like there's things that have not improved even under Elon's leadership.
Somebody just said they liked your cute hair.
Oh my God, you guys. I literally crawled out of bed and threw it up. It looks awful.
We spent like 3 minutes talking about that before we went on the air, which is why I had to say something to her. I'm sorry. I just think that's so funny. She's like, oh my God, rat's nest for hair. Blah.
This is like zero effort hair. I'm very, very, this is bad.
Oh my God, Mark, I love it. So awesome.
Well, it's because I'm going to the hairdresser like right after the show because it's just such a disaster. And so thank you very much for
gorgeous, Mark.
Yeah. That is very, very sweet considering. Anyway, that's what's going on with Twitter. I don't know. It's crazy and they're useless and support is terrible and whatever. Anyway, so that's what's going on with that.
Socials hate us. Socials just hate us.
They guys. Just do.
They
right?
do. They hate us. I think it's because our name is Chicks on the Right.
Yeah.
And so they just go, we hate them.
They make it so obvious where they stand.
Right. They're so honest. Right.
And I know I said I was like in this really, really rotten mood, which I kind of am. I mean, just because the news is so bad. But there are always things to be happy about. And one of those things is OmahaSteaks.com.
God bless the beef. Right? Am I right?
Right. And extra God bless the bacon wrapped pork chops because those things are to die for.
You put bacon with the beef? Right.
Bacon, I mean, it's like a double whammy, right? Like
it's
pork also surrounded by bacon.
You had me at bacon, really. And then
so anyway, those are just a couple of examples of things that you can get at omahasteaks.com. They're having, if you had not heard, they are having their semi-annual sale right now, which means 50% off site-wide, which is already fabulous enough, but then it gets even extra fabulous because when you go to omahasteaks.com and you specifically use code CHICKS at checkout, you get an extra $30 off. So super duper savings right now. Soak up the last bit of fall weather that we're going to have because it's like going to be 70 degrees or something here in Indiana. It's crazy warm and it's weird. And so soak it up and use this opportunity to cook out because it's going to be winter soon and it's not going to be as easy to cook out. So stock up, load up, get yourself the big discounts, use code CHICKS at checkout at omahasteaks.com. So we've been wondering and waiting, when is the United States going to respond to the fact that our U.S. bases across the Middle East have been attacked by Iran and its proxies? And now we have that answer. Just this morning, there were U.S. strikes on Iran Revolutionary Guard military targets, non-civilian areas in Syria, and specifically a storage plant and like a big ammo shelter were hit in these very targeted strikes. So that is our way, apparently, of saying, watch it, Iran.
Of saying, don't.
Of saying, don't. Don't.
That's apparently, that's how that's done right there in this administration.
So, I mean, things are escalating and I don't see Iran just saying, or Syria for that matter, I don't see them going, that's fine. We're just going to sit back and let you guys do that. That's not going to happen. So things are escalating and that's not good. But at the same time, that those strikes could not go unanswered. You know what I mean? Like don't, because apparently there were, our soldiers were injured. There have been like traumatic brain injuries reported. There have been significant injuries. And so you can't just let that go. And so.
Well, you think that you can't just let it go. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's happening. Things are ramping up and nobody likes that. And oh God.
Remember when remember when it was just mean tweets? Remember? You guys remember? Remember?
Yeah. Or just
Yeah.
even like before that. I mean, just remember when
Mhm.
every part of the world, not every part, but like most parts of the world felt calmer,
Right.
you know?
Right. Mhm.
What
Yeah.
did that one lady on TikTok call it? The in before times.
The before
Remember in the
times.
before
The
times?
before time the before times. I remember the before times.
The before times,
Yeah, I
man.
just like to remember the '80s. That's what I like to remember. Just,
Yeah.
and even then, things were a little unsettled, but they weren't like this.
They weren't like this. I mean, it
Mhm.
is freaking crazy
It's
balls right
fat crap
now.
right now. Mhm.
The reason for my name today, which is lame, I know, debate moderator was the best I could come up with. And it's because we now know who will be moderating the next debate, which is taking place on NBC. So the three moderators will include Lester Holt, Kristen Welker, and Hugh Hewitt. So that's going to be an
Lester Holt.
interesting
Lester
Lester Holt.
Holt and Hugh Hewitt, and who was the other one?
Kristen Welker, she's the one that
I don't
took
know her.
over. I can't remember. You do. You would know.
I
She's
do?
got the super dark hair, and she just interviewed President Trump not long ago. Dark
Okay.
hair,
Okay.
she enunciates all of her words
Okay.
really, really well.
All right.
You would know her.
Okay. I just know Lester Holt's forehead, and then okay, and then yeah, got it. All right, Hugh Hewitt.
So,
All right,
yeah.
it'll be fine. It'll be very, like somebody said, Dolesville. It'll be very, very dull. All right.
Yeah, but that is still happening. There's
Mhm.
no new news as far as I know about Vivek. I know yesterday we were talking about the fact that he's thinking about not even participating. And so where that stands, I'm not sure, but the debate is going to happen. So there it is. Eugene Heger, I'm not sure how to say your name. Thank you so much for that. Loves his bad girls. You go, ladies. Thank you. And Yvonne Pitsy, thank you. She says, hello from Maine, about an hour away from this nightmare. Heartbreaking. One of our congressmen stood up at the first press conference yesterday and apologized, made gun law changes his mission. He is a vet. I saw that. I don't remember the name of who that is. A Democrat, I think, who was at least somewhat okay about the Second Amendment rights of Americans. And now that this has hit so close to home, he's done a 180 and has decided ban assault weapons. And so he's completely turned, and all of the squad is praising him for his bravery and courage. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, the response is very predictable.
Very, very predictable.
Mhm.
And the manhunt is still underway. They still have not caught this guy. And now they're basically saying to the entire country and Canada, be on the lookout, because this guy was a trained army guy, very, very adept, obviously, with firearms, with boats. He was a fisherman, with surviving in the wilderness. So he is every bit as capable, if not more so, than the very people who are out looking for him right now. So it's a super dangerous situation. And the fact that they have not caught him is terrifying, because he literally could be anywhere by now. They thought, well, maybe he's crossed the border to Canada. Maybe he took like a jet ski. He could be, who knows? He could be in Florida. He could be here in Indiana. He could be in Texas. He could be in California by now. We have no idea. But we do know that banning assault weapons is not going to change a damn thing.
No, it's not. It's not.
God.
Mhm. And not addressing mental illness is
Right.
not helping either. So, I mean, it's just the
This
same old
argument.
crap, different day.
I know. And we've
So
got
tired of
a
it.
lot of sound to play about that we'll get to. Thank you, West Point Daughter. She says, good morning, all. Humble prayer request. Docs found a spot on my lung and on an adrenal gland. I have lupus already. I'm only 44. I have kids and I'm scared. You
Oh my
chicks make my
God.
morning every day. I feel like I know you personally and love you. Oh
Well,
my
listen, we have a lot of prayer
God.
warriors here. So you guys,
Yes.
yeah.
Turn them on, turn them
Yep.
up for West Point
Mhm.
Daughter.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know your personal situation, but don't worry. I'm a person I also have a spot on my lung that I was completely terrified about, had all the CAT scans. This was years ago. And it turns out it was just scarring from like a previous bout of pneumonia.
Yep.
50% plus of people in this country, in the world probably, have spots on their lungs that are utterly benign. So just know that that is a thing. And yes, we'll be
Try to
setting up
stay
all
positive. Try very hard to
prayers.
stay positive. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see them all coming already. So these are your people.
Mhm.
These are your people. Okay, one more quick note before we get to videos, and that is that the guy that we told you about, the Democrat who was thinking about running in a primary against Biden, is officially doing it. Like, he filed all the paperwork, is officially in. His name is Dean Phillips. He's a congressman from Minnesota, and he's 54. That's all I know about him. And so he thinks he's got a chance.
And I still don't think that Gavin Newsom's not going to swoop in at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he's like waiting in the wings.
I mean, he's going off and meeting President Xi.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep. I just would not rule him out. He's still kind of hanging out back there with the slicked back used cars salesman hair. He's just hanging out. He's still there. He's looming.
Yeah, he is looming for sure. Okay, so about this shooter guy, the fact, and we talked a lot about this yesterday when the news first broke, the fact that there were so many warning signs about this guy, the fact that everyone was well aware of his mental illness history, and the fact that he had been released after a 2-week stint at a mental hospital, and not a single doctor or law enforcement or court or anybody in that entire town thought to themselves, maybe we should take away his guns, because he is a legit criminal threat and has openly stated that he wants to shoot up people.
Right.
I feel like this would qualify under our yellow flag laws. That didn't happen. Jesse Waters had some things to say about it.
So he could be north, he could be south, he could be stashed away. We don't know where he is. But I'm a little concerned about this. I don't like the fact if someone's involuntarily committed to a mental institution and no one initiates a process to take away his firearms. That is insane to me. And whoever didn't initiate that process to take this guy's firearms away has blood on their hands. And we don't know a lot about what's going on right now, but that right there is your patriotic duty. If you're sending someone to a mental institution for 2 weeks because they're saying they're hearing voices and because they're going to shoot up an army base, they have to make that known to the right authorities so they strip this guy of his weapons so everybody can be safe.
Yeah, I feel like that's common sense. Like, what are we doing?
Right?
Like, who's the person that's supposed to do that? I feel like law enforcement has to step in and go, okay, so that's the red flag. Let's take care of business. So who's dropping the ball here? Who is that?
Well, it just shows how useless a lot of these laws are. They're created to just make the public feel like something's being done by their legislators, but there's never a process, or if there is a process, it's filled with bureaucracy that nobody wants to go through the red tape with.
Exactly.
And they don't do anything.
So the legislators are like, look what we did.
Right.
Yay, look what we did. We're so awesome. Look at us. We're helping you. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're just writing things on paper. Nobody gives a crap. It's just insanity what's going on here. So yeah, somebody does have blood on their hands. I don't know who that is. Who is it?
The amount of times that we get tired of hearing he was on our radar.
Yeah.
Okay. What good did that do?
Exactly. Exactly. So it's all insanity. And like, there are so many people who, a lot of liberals who are all, anti-gun. These people are so anti-gun and they're blaming the guns. These are the same people who are so pro-war now. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? It's like, it's this strange dichotomy with liberals now. Like, they are screaming. And it was so predictable because I knew this was going to happen. Everybody knew this was going to happen. They were going to start screaming, ban assault weapons. Okay. I mean, whatever that means. And how are you going to do that? Like, what's the process for that? And are you going to start grabbing? Are you going to start going into people's houses and grabbing their guns? Like, how are you going to do that in the United States of America? I don't understand how that's going to, there's no logical way for that to work in this country. So it's never going to work here. So if we could just figure out a way to start helping people with their mental illness and doing other things and doing something that actually is logical in this country and getting to the root of the problem. This discussion, I'm becoming so tired of it. Yeah. I'm just becoming tired of it because we're trying to solve a problem that's never going to be solved. The problem lies with, it's kind of like the new Speaker of the House. He mentioned it on Hannity last night.
We have it. Well, yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. So Jake Tapper, who was reporting about this whole story from Israel, he he was obviously weighing in because when the manhunt is still underway, they've closed down like schools and like public facilities, and everybody's like tightly locked up in their homes. So they're effectively under this lockdown. And so Jake Tapper had questions about that.
It can be safe.
I have to say, I always find it, I don't know, questionable. I'm always kind of curious about the decisions by these towns when there's a manhunt and they go into complete lockdown and schools and businesses close. I understand the fear, but it's not sustainable for a long time.
Oh my God.
And there's part of me that wonders if it actually makes anxiety worse. How do police reconcile public safety with the need for people to live their lives?
Such a great question.
He always finds it questionable. I mean, how do we reconcile public safety with the need for people to live their lives, you guys? How do we do that? He always
what can we relate that back to?
Let's see. What can we? It's so weird. I mean, and then like, how do people run their businesses, and how do people like attend their loved ones' funerals? How do people do that?
Doesn't this just cause more problems? Lockdowns?
Did he not hear himself saying that like in real time and go, oh crap, I'm saying that and I feel like an idiot. Oh my God.
There's no self-awareness.
None at all.
As predicted, and as you mentioned, all the people that you would expect to say all the things that you would expect them to say did just that. Here was KJP right out of the gate at her presser yesterday.
Let's work together to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Let's work together to enact universal background checks, require safe storage of guns, and keep guns out of the hands of criminals and dangerous individuals who have no business being armed with a weapon of war.
I'm so sick of it. It's just the same old shit, different day. I'm just so tired of this. I mean, I can't be the only one that's just tired of this. The same old talking points, different day. You're not taking my guns.
And
you're not.
They just had the Australian dude here at the White House. Kamala was with him, and so she, of course, decided to point to Australia as the example of how we should manage our own problems here. Here she is.
Mm-hmm. Gun violence has terrorized and traumatized so many of our communities in this country. And let us be clear, it does not have to be this way, as our friends in Australia have demonstrated. And with that, then.
Oh, yay! Let's be like
Australia. Australia they're a monarchy. They're a constitutional monarchy. We're not.
No, and we didn't put people in concentration camps during COVID. Exactly. So let's not emulate them if we could just not do that.
So I mean, listen, you that monarchy, good luck with your little monarchy. I'm not. So, and also, how's the border, Kamala? Border czar? How's our border looking?
Maybe she's looking at root causes.
Yeah. No, the answer is no. It's like it's not going to, that would never work in the United States of America. It's just not, I don't know why these people can't get that into their heads. It's like gun confiscation will not work in the United States of America.
No,
it just won't.
It will not. And the question that nobody ever seems to ask is, we always hear about there are more guns in the United States. There's like 30 guns for every person or 300 guns per person. I forget what the stat is, but it's a lot, right? So it's a lot. And a lot of people own guns in America. And so if guns are the problem, how is it not just complete mayhem,
right?
Murder sprees constantly every single day? Because if you look at the math and you do genuinely believe that it's the gun that's the problem, nobody should be alive in this country. Literally nobody.
Right.
There should just be massive gun sprees constantly by everybody who owns them. And there's not. And the reason for that is because it's not the gun that's the problem. It's the person. And nobody explained it better than our new speaker, Mike Johnson.
At the end of the day, the problem is the human heart. It's not guns, it's not the weapons. At the end of the day, we have to protect the right of the citizens to protect themselves, and that's the Second Amendment. And that's why our party stands so strongly for that. I agree with the comments of your guests there. This is not the time to be talking about legislation. We're in the middle of that crisis right now. But I just want you to know, and I want the American people to know, that all the members of the House here are deeply concerned about the families involved and everyone. And we pray for the law enforcement officers that are doing that hard job tonight that most people do not have the bravery to do.
You talk about the human heart. If somebody really wants to kill innocent people, there's a lot of ways they can do it beyond using a gun.
Yeah.
I'm sure this will become a bigger issue throughout the days moving forward. Is there any specific gun law that you would look at, or any new legislation you would look at?
Well, been on the job for 48 hours. We'll see. I mean, there'll be lots of discussion, as there are after these heartbreaking tragedies. But your point is well taken. I mean, you know, in Europe and in other places, they use vehicles to mow down crowds at parades, where they've done that here in the United States. It's not the weapon, it's the underlying problem. I believe we have to address the root problems of these things, and mental health, obviously, as in this case, is a big issue. And we've got to seriously address that as a society and as a government, and there's lots of measures pending on that as well.
A to the men. I know it was a great interview last night. It was a phenomenal interview, in my opinion. Like, we wrote about this in our book in 2014. You cannot legislate evil. You can't do that, but you can provide legislation that helps people with mental illness. And we are not doing that in this country. We have not done that over the past 20, 30 years. We've just not given a crap about that, which is why our country is falling apart. One of the reasons, one of the many reasons why our country is falling apart. So he was very eloquent about that.
And we'll have more from him later too in the show, because it really was a phenomenal interview. Nancy King, thank you. Nancy says, I am on a quilting retreat with 35 other women. Some of them are snowflakes, so I am using my earbuds. The chicks are always the best way to start the day. Thank you, Nancy. Enjoy your quilting retreat. Michelle Boyd, thank you. Liberals are against whatever we support. We are anti-war and support guns, so they just go against that like high school. Catherine Lazzaretti, thank you. She says, just because. Thank you so much, Catherine. I love your last name so much. And Hot Pocket, thank you, Hot Pocket. People here that want to ban assault weapons had no problem with the gun drives all over the U.S. in which private citizens sent their guns over to Ukrainian citizens for their protection. That's right. I remember a lot of liberals calling for, why can't Ukrainians arm themselves? And I'm like, do you not even hear your own self?
This is the thing. It's like I said, they're totally for war. You know, they're absolutely like hungry and bloodthirsty for war. But then they're like, oh my God, ban assault weapons. What? It's like, we want to confiscate people's guns here in the United States, but we want to send all the guns over there. What? It's like, you guys are crazy. It's like,
it's like how they demand, safe spaces on campuses for wrong gender pronouns, but they have no problem literally threatening the lives of Jewish students.
Yes.
And they don't understand safe spaces for Jewish students. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Also, because the world is so crazy and the markets are so crazy, and you even pointed out, was it yesterday, that there was a hashtag going around on Twitter that says stock market crash?
Yep.
Things are crazy. And that is why there is no better time to think about adding a physical gold component to your financial portfolio. If that's something that you've thought about doing, but you haven't really known who to turn to or what the best way is to approach doing that, you can get every single speck of information you ever wanted to learn about how to invest in gold from the best people in the education about gold business. That is Birch Gold. So please text them for free information. They will send you a big pile of information that makes it so easy to understand how they can help you. You just need to text the word chicks to 989898, and they will immediately send you a free gold information kit. Again, that comes from Birch Gold. Just text chicks to 989898. Please do that. Yvonne, thank you. Yvonne says, by the way, love you ladies. You have been in my pocket for over a year. Finally got my butt up in time for live.
Right there.
It's great to have us in your pocket, but live is even better. Thank you for being with us. Appreciate that. Okay, I think this next batch of videos is probably the reason that I was in such a bad mood with my husband this morning.
Really? Uh-oh.
Yeah, so brace yourselves, because this is just kind of like a example of all the crazy that is going. I mean, we talk about mental illness. There is plenty of it running rampant in our country right now. And much of it has to do with these college protesters, these criminals who are attacking Jewish people simply because they're Jewish. There was a guy, I don't even remember what city this was. I think it was San Francisco, where a guy, it was a home invasion, literally invaded a home of a Jewish family with the sole purpose of murdering them. But he was apprehended. And here's the story about that.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Over and over again, this is what the suspect was yelling as he was being taken into custody after reportedly breaking into a family home at 5:25 this morning.
Unknown suspect broke into the residence, PR inside with 4 children.
The terrified family in Studio City calling 911, asking for help after they say the suspect yelled that he wanted to, quote, kill them because he reportedly said they're Israeli.
That's just lovely. Try that in Texas, buddy. I mean, unbelievable. That was in San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But listen, I mean, USKJP, and this isn't, it's, it's
We've
the
seen no
Muslims.
evidence.
The Muslims are being targeted. They're being targeted, you guys.
Yeah. Watch out for that Islamophobia.
It's a lot of Islamophobia going around. Mm-hmm.
And then the protests on campuses are getting more and more outrageous in terms of the things that they're chanting. I mean, it was bad enough that they were saying from the river to the sea. That was bad enough. But now it's just getting more just openly, brazenly, we want to exterminate Jews. Like, it's just getting insane. Here are a few examples. We'll kick this off. I don't even know. It doesn't matter where these campuses, it's happening all over. It doesn't matter what the school is. It's happening all over. Here's an example.
We know that sometimes there are Zionist, pro-Israel counter-protests at these actions. And if you see them, you don't have to engage with them. We're doing our best to de-escalate them, to move them away. We don't want Israel to exist. We don't want these Zionist counter-protesters to exist. We can't control that. What we can control is ourselves. We can choose to focus on our demands today. We want UW to cut ties with weapons companies, UW to condemn the attacks against Palestinian students, UW to cut ties with Israel, and to end the siege on Gaza now.
I mean, we don't want Israel to exist.
Yeah. Can you,
out there.
Just being a Jewish kid on campus, I can't imagine that. But also parents have to be asking themselves, like, if you're a parent of one of those kids, you got to be asking yourself, like, how did I fail my kid?
Yeah.
It's not just the universities, you guys. I mean, we can blame the universities all we want, but these kids have parents. I mean, at some point, the parents have to be asking themselves, how did I fail this kid? As much as you want to blame the universities for these kids' behavior, they have parents. I mean, I am responsible for my kid, all of my kids. I'm responsible for their behavior. I can send them to college and be like, oh my God, the college totally indoctrinated my kid. It's totally the college. No, I'm also responsible. So when they come home, and if I see my kid, if my daughter comes home, seriously, if Gwen came home with blue hair, I'd be like, we're done with this. I'm yanking you. Seriously. I mean, I would be like, something is wrong, because she's not the kind of kid that's going to like just dye her hair blue, honestly, and start acting a certain way. So you have to be engaged with your kid, and you have to know what they're doing. And if she started acting like a freaking idiot, I would be like, we're done here. I'm not paying for your school anymore. I'm yanking you out. Like, we're not going to do this. You're not going to start acting like an idiot, because I did not raise you to be an idiot. So all these kids, like, they have parents. What are they doing? I want to talk to the parents of these kids. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, and that is super, super true to some extent, but there are an awful lot of these kids who are probably just there on student loans. They're 18. They're no longer under their parents' hand. You know what I mean?
Probably a very small amount, Mock. Honestly, a very small amount. I would imagine that like a large portion of these kids just have very disengaged parents.
But there's probably a lot of parents who are I hope that there's a lot of parents who are mortified and that they've tried their best. Because I always think of my own parents, right, who had a really tough time with my sister for a long time, and everything's great now. But during this age, which is a crazy, crazy age, tons of problems. And it wasn't because of them. It was because she was influenced by horrible friends. And there was nothing they could do to break her of this. They tried like letting her get arrested. Like they tried all the things. And sometimes parents can only do so much before they've lost complete control. And it's not them. It's who their kids choose to be around and be influenced by.
Yeah.
It's so hard. So even though there's a lot of these kids have shit parents who probably have taught them to feel this way.
Right.
Which is even worse because you're seeing all these adults and so many of the university professors themselves being involved in these protests. I mean, it's a cancer that has like absolutely infested the colleges, and it's just vile. And then it's so dumb because then we have idiots like this girl who you're about to hear, who's super mad. She wants like everybody to boycott all of these companies that partner with Israel or support Israel in any way. One of the companies that she mentions is Nike. She's wearing Nike.
Boycott Starbucks, McDonald's, Disney, Nestle, Coca-Cola, Pizza Hut, Burger King, Pepsi, Domino's, Papa John's, Nike, CeraVe, and Airbnb. Subway, Walmart, and Dasani, and the list goes on. This demonstration should make our demands clear.
Wait,
Your
why?
demands.
Why do they want to boycott those companies? Why?
Because of any support for Israel. If they have come out openly or if they have business investments or whatever their tie is to Israel, everybody needs to boycott them for that.
Jeez. And so she's wearing Nikes.
Right.
Oh, God.
And you can't tell me she doesn't patronize some of those other establishments that she just mentioned.
Half these kids probably couldn't find Israel on a map.
Oh, there's no way. There's no
just
way.
Absolutely no way they could. Yeah, they're complete morons, these kids.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of things that they're saying out loud, this is at NYU, and I'll let you hear the chants for yourself because it's just unreal. We don't want no two-state. We want all of it.
That's nice.
That's what they're saying out loud.
They have no idea what they're saying. I guarantee you that half these kids don't even know what they're saying. Like the river to the sea thing, they don't know. Half of them don't even know what that means. They don't know.
I mean, can you imagine participating to that extent in a protest and yelling those chants and not knowing? Like just saying them because you're some sort of sheep? Like, why would you want to be a person who doesn't even know what they're protesting about?
Because they think that they're edgy. They think that they're these kids in that generation. They think, oh, I mean, I'm doing something. Look at me. I'm part of something. I'm part of a group. I'm out there. It's like the kids the white kids who are out there with BLM. You know what I mean? They were like participating in this protest and they thought that they were part of something. You know, they felt like, and I think that they're doing the same thing with this. It's very similar.
God, that's just nuts. Absolutely nuts. Leah is here. She says, still here. We should all start tweeting that these anti-Semitic attacks are the fault of AOC, Rashida, Omar, and these universities. After all, they would blame us like that. They already have. I mean, literally every opportunity I have to tag the squad and demand answers from them, I do it because they are the worst. They are the worst of the worst.
Yeah. And make no mistake. Listen, I'm saying that some of these kids are doing it and they're mindless and they don't know what they're doing. But I also think that there are legit anti-Semitic kids.
Oh, for
on
sure.
these campuses. You know, I'm not belittling what some of these kids are doing because some of them are Jew haters. So,
without question. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Leah says, more funny about these boycotts, cell phone technology and the Intel chips that power their computers and enable them to connect to the world, all designed in Israel. Protest that.
Unbelievable.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the other clip that I wanted to show, which was also kind of horrifying, is what's happening in the UK. So the UK, as you know, has had a very open border when it comes to importing lots of radical Islamic people. And it's, you know, diversity is not always a strength. And I think the UK is finding that out big time. Here is just a sampling of what's happening at their mosques.
Israel is worse than Nazi Germany.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. There was one more. This was said out loud, and I don't even know where this is. Another university.
I think that was
Israel is worse than Nazi Germany.
How dare you say that? How dare you say that?
Israel is worse than Nazi Germany.
Was that Binghamton?
I don't even remember.
Am I wrong about that? I think that may have been Binghamton. I think that was because I think if I recall, I saw that yesterday, and they were saying who that was, and that kid, they called him out by name. It was at they have a Twitter account for like anti-Semites now, and they called that kid's name out, and that kid's father is a Jewish man who works at a bank, like a prominent bank, and it is outrageous. Like these kids. They are idiots.
Oh my God.
And what they're doing. And I'm here for it. When they say the kid's name and they say, this is who your father is, this is who your mother is, you're a freaking idiot. And I hope you don't get work. And I hope they don't get, I mean, the dad is like a prominent banker. Morons, these kids. Absolute morons.
Amy Kernan, thank you. Amy says, Daisy, send your daughter to Texas A&M. My daughter graduated from there and is still conservative. She had one liberal professor. She's at OU Law now.
That's her. She's 13, and that's where she already really wants to go. So I love.
But they're not immune. I mean, because we've seen plenty of articles about the wokeness.
Well, no one's immune, but she definitely. That's her first. That's where she kind of wants to go. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the part that I wanted to show you about the mosques. Okay, so this is what's happening in Britain.
What these Islamists are preaching in British mosques will shock you.
Hamas is part of the Hukam of Palestine. Don't criticize them. Don't blame them. If you can't help this situation, shut up!
Thinking, oh Allah, curse the Jews and the children of Israel.
What Hamas or the Mujahideen from Gaza did. They have done something which we are pleased with.
God, take care of the enemies of the Muslims, O Lord of the world, from the oppressive Jews, O Lord of the world.
Alhamdulillah, they gave the enemy a punch on the nose. All right? And it's a very welcome punch on the nose.
The only solution is jihad by the armies of the Muslim countries.
It is a duty upon the Muslim leaders to fulfill the command of jihad. They must carry out military action.
We stand with the resistance of Palestine.
Alhamdulillah, this morning the heroes of Gaza broke through the enemy lines of the Yahud.
Would you classify that as terrorism?
I don't want to go to jail, so I'm going to pass that question to Robert. We reject the term terrorism when describing acts of Palestinian resistance.
I mean, it's just, these are Western countries that this is happening in, and it's terrifying.
Right. Religion of peace, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then on our own freaking soil at the United Nations, on our own soil, the Iranian foreign minister is threatening the United States. Yeah. This is why the United Nations is a thing, what the purpose of it is at this point. It's such a complete joke.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that this is allowed, and yet here we are.
Today in New York and the United Nations, I say frankly to the American statesmen who are now managing the genocide in Palestine that we do not welcome to expansion of the war in the region. But I warn, if the genocide in Gaza continues, they will not be spared from this fire.
Oh my God.
It is our home, and West Asia is our region.
This guy said this in New York City. Like he comes to our country and he says this shit. Like my blood was boiling. Like that's just not like even a flex. He just walked right over Biden, and he allows it. Like our president just allows it. I cannot deal with this.
Yeah. What's the point of what is the point? I can't even believe that Iran has a presence at the United Nations.
I know.
I can't believe it.
The blood of Americans is on this guy's hands. And this is happening in our country. It's outrageous. My blood was boiling yesterday. It's still today. I'm so mad about this. And this administration's like, whatever.
Just a normal United Nations meeting. What? It's fine.
Oh my God, this is just, it's not a, can you imagine being a family member of one of the hostages? Can you imagine being,
C-Noons, thank you. C-Noons says, Dad taught me to think critically. If I take a stance, I better be able to back it up with facts. He played devil's advocate often, and I always came back to common sense, conservatism. God bless y'all. XO. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
And Pamela J. Bennett Walton. The late 60s and early 70s, we protested because we were young and hated the establishment. Most of us did it because it was cool and had no idea why we were protesting. History has a way of repeating itself. It sure does. But I mean, were you protesting for the absolute murder of people? I don't think you were.
No.
Being against the man back in the day.
Totally
different.
Absolutely different.
Totally different.
Yeah. And listen, back to the Iranian PM. This guy is emboldened because we just keep giving him money. We just slap him on the wrist and we just keep giving him pallets of money. We just give him cash.
Yeah.
He's never going to stop walking all over this administration. He just feels emboldened and empowered to do whatever the hell he wants.
Why wouldn't he? We look weak AF.
Right. The only thing that this administration has ever done is said, don't.
Right.
Just don't.
Okay, but to be fair, we shot at an ammo center and a storage facility. So
Miriam, I can't. Honestly, it's like the guy who doesn't defend you, right? It's like the boyfriend. This administration is the boyfriend who doesn't defend you. It's like some guy's coming in and slapping you around, and then the boyfriend is just sitting there drinking his beer. You know what I mean? This is what's happening.
Saying don't do that.
Don't hurt her. Don't hurt her. He's just sitting there drinking his beer. That's what's happening. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, I would leave him. Actually, first of all, I'd fight back and then I'd leave that pansy. That's what's happening. Our administration is a pansy ass. That's what's happening right now. I cannot. Yeah, it's a simp boyfriend, Scott. Our administration is a simp boyfriend.
Let's see something better. And that is Jonathan Conricus explaining some reality to another reporter. Because, man, he is so good at dealing with these people. So good. Here's just another example.
United Nations is calling for a ceasefire, saying that aid is desperately needed, in particular fuel. They will not be able to continue operations for much longer, especially medical help in hospitals, if that's not allowed through fuel through the border at Rafah. What are you being told about a pause in hostilities to enable that to happen?
Yes, reports like these are, of course, very serious and should be taken seriously. If the hospital cannot operate, then everybody should take notice. However, I think that we are looking at it from the wrong perspective. There is fuel in the Gaza Strip. It is stored and controlled by Hamas. They have stockpiled it before, and they have also stolen fuel both from the UN and from private vendors, and this has been documented publicly in the Gaza Strip. The issue here is that the international institutions that are active in the Gaza Strip, instead of calling things as they are and telling Hamas, you should be providing fuel to us, to the hospitals, and for the humanitarian needs, they are asking for help from the outside. This is incorrect, and it is unfortunate because there is fuel in the Gaza Strip. We know it. We have even pointed it out on a map where it is, on Google Earth even, and you can see that Hamas has between 850,000 and 1 million liters of fuel. Depending on their priorities, they can, of course, send this fuel to hospitals and to pump water using generators, or they can continue using it for fighting against Israel. That is those are their priorities.
And then here you can see that even while 80%, this is according to NBC, more than 80% of Gaza's population lives in total poverty. This is according to the UN. But Hamas, who runs the show, has an investment portfolio of real estate and other assets worth $500 million and an annual military budget of $350 million.
Surprise!
So don't come crawling and crying to Israel to provide your fuel. My God.
Yeah, I mean, shut up. Just take all the seats. These are terrorists. My God.
I know.
I mean, anybody is surprised by this. Like, shut up.
And then when you see the squad just being like, it's so mean of Israel to cut off the fuel. Shut up.
Well, then cut them a check yourself, Rashida.
God, it's just infuriating.
Seriously.
But there are people that do understand what's really happening. There is a fellow in the UK by the name of Hillel Nurer. I have no idea if I'm butchering that name or not, but these are people in the UK Parliament who are speaking actual sense. And any minute now, they're going to speak some sense.
There has been a lot of talk about proportionality in the law on self-defense, and I would like to begin by referring to the words that Lord Panic used a few days ago on the test of proportionality. Proportionality does not mean that the defensive force has to be equal to the force that was used in the armed attack. Proportionality means that you can use force that is proportionate to the defensive objective, which is to stop, to repel, and prevent further attacks. Israel has described its war aims as the destruction of Hamas's capability. From a legal perspective, it seems to me that these war aims are consistent with proportionality in the law of self-defense, given what Hamas says it does, and given what Hamas has done and continues to do. On calls for a ceasefire, asking a state that is acting in self-defense to agree to a ceasefire before its lawful defensive objectives have been met is, in effect, asking that state to stop defending itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically asking them to roll over.
Yeah.
That's like...
And keep taking it.
Yeah.
Just keep taking it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Exactly.
God, enough is enough. In the same, there's also a woman in that same, what do you call it? Like parliament, I guess, or court. I don't even know where they are when they're doing their parliamentary things, but wherever that is, her name is Kemi Badenoch, and she made a great point about culture and how she doesn't use the term melting pot because that's an American thing, right. But it used to be a thing here, right? Where everybody who immigrated to the United States did so because they wanted to be a part of the amazing culture that we had here.
They wanted to be American.
They would melt into the pot and become Americans like my parents did. Mm-hmm. So it's not that they have dismissed or disavowed or don't love in any way their Polish heritage, but they did not come here and demand everything turn Polish for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
They,
totally.
They wanted to be Americans.
They wanted to melt. Yeah.
They wanted to melt. And the same thing used to be true in the UK. It is no longer true. And they are suffering the consequences. And this woman pointed out that culture matters.
Mr. Speaker, as the Minister for Women and Equalities, it would be remiss not to reflect on the way religious communities in the UK have been impacted by the terrible events in the Middle East. All our citizens have a right to feel secure and at peace in Britain. One of the reasons why we have been able to integrate people from all over the world is because of an unwritten rule that people with roots elsewhere do not play out foreign conflicts on the streets of this country. We owe a duty of care and civility to our neighbours, whatever their ethnicity, religion or background. All of us are free to practice our faiths and celebrate our cultures, but we must do so in a positive way, consistent with fundamental values that are the bedrock of Britain. I'm afraid to say that in recent days, we have seen that social contract being breached. In particular, I believe that the hostility directed towards our Jewish communities, the calls for jihad, the ostentatious indifference to the victims of terrorism, the aggressive chanting by mobs, brandishing placards of hate, and the odious people ripping down posters of missing children do not reflect our values as a nation. We must all stand firm on the boundaries of acceptable behavior, particularly in the public space that we all share. That is why today I am reminding public sector organizations that they have a legal obligation as part of the equality duty to consider how they contribute to the advancement of good relations in communities as they deliver public services. Where organizations are having difficulty doing this, I would urge them to write to me as soon as possible for advice on how they can fulfill their legal obligations.
I want to be able to be in one of those meetings and go, here. I want to be in the background and be able to do that. Like that.
And then when you leave, say, Cheerio,
old chap, here. I love that so much. It's so British, you know.
so British.
Stuart the Brit, if he's in here, you probably concur. Here.
Charity Inglis, thank you. Charity says, perfect analogy on the boyfriend. This administration is just pathetic and weak.
Right? You just want to punch him in the face and be like,
you would like to punch them in the face.
Balls. Seriously, what is wrong with you? We are breaking up right now. God, you are a soy boy.
But John Kirby had himself a moment yesterday, you guys.
Yeah,
he had himself a moment. And I was like, I was not expecting this from John Kirby, but he was on the right side in this response. And I think it's worth sharing that he had a good moment.
Karine and John, so besides saying that he doesn't have confidence in these numbers, the president went further to say that innocents will die and that this is the price of the war. You also said that.
I have indeed.
Yeah, don't you think this is insensitive? There being very harsh criticism about it. For example, the Council of American Islamic Relations said it was deeply disturbed and called on the president to apologize. Would the president apologize, and does he regret say something like that?
What's harsh is the way Hamas is using people as human shields. What's harsh is taking a couple of hundred hostages and leaving families anxious, waiting and worrying to figure out where their loved ones are. What's harsh is dropping in on a music festival and slaughtering a bunch of young people just trying to enjoy an afternoon. I could go on and on. That's what's harsh. That is what's harsh. And being honest about the fact that there have been civilian casualties and that there likely will be more is being honest, because that's what war is. It's brutal, it's ugly, it's messy. I've said that before. The president also said that yesterday. Doesn't mean we have to like it. And it doesn't mean that we're dismissing any one of those casualties. Each and every one is a tragedy in its own right. And each and every one we should try to prevent. And that is why we're in close contact with our Israeli counterparts to do everything we can to help them minimize the risk to civilians that are in harm's way. It would be helpful if Hamas would let them leave their homes, leave areas, not shelter in tunnels underneath their houses and in hospitals, and let them get out. Let them get out of Gaza if they want to leave. We know that there are thousands waiting to leave Gaza writ large, and Hamas is preventing them from doing it. That is what is harsh.
I mean, it took 2 weeks for his balls to drop. That's nice.
But I mean, at least they did.
I guess. I mean, it's just crazy that we have to applaud this. It's common sense.
Well, it's so surprising, right? When there's any actual common sense that comes out of this administration, I'm like taken aback.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we all know what war is, right? I mean, most of us know what it is, but a lot of everything he said is common sense. To me, it's common sense. But okay, that's nice. We have to give him a round of golf claps that he said. Common sense. So yay.
Because that reporter doesn't have any. That reporter was like, you guys, shouldn't you apologize for saying that civilians are going to be like just callously just thrown aside in war? You should apologize. That's insensitive.
Carolyn said, here. So true. You're so right, Carolyn.
I mean, he does get a here for that.
I guess. It's just so stupid that we have to go, oh, yay, your balls dropped. Look at you. It's so nice. Oh, my God.
There are some Jewish groups who have gotten together to create a message to the major league sports teams who continue, apparently, to have ties or show at least some semblance of support to BLM. And now, given how awful BLM has been to Israel and to Jewish people, these groups are standing up and saying enough is enough.
When BLM was founded, they didn't hide their anti-Semitism.
If we don't step up boldly and courageously to end the imperialist project that's called Israel, we're doomed.
Despite this, professional sports teams ignored their bigotry and elevated BLM, providing millions of dollars in publicity, including teams in cities with vibrant Jewish communities.
Cuban.
Chicago, Dallas, New York, Miami, Boston. Now their grassroots organization and Chicago chapter praised the massacre of Jews in Israel, the murder and burning of Jewish children, the rape of Jewish women, and the slaughter of 1,300 Jews in Israel. They have called for the end of the only Jewish country in the world. Will the NBA, MLB, and NFL stop supporting and promoting a movement that advocates the murder of Jews?
Yeah, and like all your high school girlfriends that live in the suburbs and like gated communities that put that crap around their face on Facebook. Remember? You guys remember? Yeah, you guys gonna stop supporting that too? Remember, Becky? Remember when you did that? Yeah, you may want to take that down. You may want to like scrub that from a couple years ago. Remember? Yeah.
Meanwhile, this is totally unrelated, but there are some changes happening at prestigious places like Johns Hopkins where it starts out okay. Like you start thinking, okay, well, this is just a nice little PSA from Johns Hopkins for their employees about, feeling, I don't know, one with the organization. But wait until you see the second dude. I guess he's a dude. This is a Johns Hopkins person. Like, do they not have a dress code? This is my question.
Diversity means having, different people from various backgrounds.
Really want to understand where someone is coming from and their background and their perspective. It makes you a better person and it makes that relationship stronger.
I have to lie about what I did over the weekend or exclude it for whatever reason because I don't feel comfortable. It really makes me feel like I can't be my whole self at work.
Can you believe this?
I cannot go to doctors anymore. I just can't. I can't unless I'm actually dying. I'm just not.
Oh my God. Did you see? Like, do they not just have standards, like dress and presentation standards?
If you went into that doctor, okay, seriously, I couldn't keep a straight face. I don't even know what kind of a doctor is that dude. Do we know?
I don't know. He may not be a doctor. He may just be like an employee of some sort.
Or like an administrator. If he's a doctor and I actually had an appointment with that guy, I would get up and walk the F out. I couldn't. You guys, I couldn't do it. If he was like orthopedic surgeon or something, and I went in there and he was like, let's look at your x-rays. And I walked in, I'd be like, get the F out. Are you serious? You're actually my doctor. You're like Doogie Howser with a mohawk. I can't do this. No, I'm out. I can't. It's bad enough that like all the doctors I have are younger than me now. That's bad enough. I can't. Like that's hard enough for me because now
I'm tough, man.
I'm in my 50s and all my doctors are like in 30s and 40s now. And that's hard enough for me because I want everybody to be like Marcus Welby, They all should be older than me, but that's not happening now. They're all younger than me now, which is a huge problem for me. But if he had a mohawk and a suit, no, I'm out. Completely out. Oh my God. I can't.
So I mentioned that Joe Biden had the Australian dude and his wife here. And so like anytime there's another foreign leader here in the United States, they typically have their little state dinners and they get all gussied up and they spend a lot of tax money on having this amazing meal. But the reason that I'm showing just what they wore is because I thought they looked pretty good. Like Jill Biden looked good for being who they are.
She had to have gotten a stylist then because she usually wears drapes.
I thought this was okay. I mean, this is drapey, but they looked good together. You know what I mean? Like this is better than normal for her, I thought.
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
like it fits her nicely and her hair looks nice. I thought she looked nice.
Who are the other people with them?
The Australian dude and his wife.
Australian people. Okay.
Yeah. And she looks like she's like the fairy godmother from Cinderella. Like that dress reminds me of like the Cinderella dress. You know what I mean?
I mean, they look
It's
fine.
so fancy.
They look fine.
It's very fancy. And then also,
I just keep paying. I think that we pay for that. We pay for all this crap. We pay for all of these dinners and everything. And I know that they have to do that. I guess they have to do that, but we're broke.
Mm-hmm. They also were very, very busy, the White House, in recognizing an important day. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but did you guys realize that there was an important day yesterday?
No.
Did you know that yesterday was Intersex Awareness Day?
Oh, intersex. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
What's intersex? What is that?
That's when you're actually born with both male and female sexual organs.
You're a hermaphrodite?
Mm-hmm.
You're like Jamie Lee Curtis?
Is she really?
I don't know. Remember there was that big rumor that she was a hermaphrodite? It's a lie. I'm sure. It was an urban legend. Remember there was that urban legend forever? Am I the only one that heard that? There's that
I must have forgotten it.
That she was a hermaphrodite. Yeah. Harley Cat. Am I the right? It's an urban legend.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
because she has a kid, right? That's trans.
But there was, for a long time people used to, I don't know. But somebody said she never had kids. I think she adopted kids.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah. Harley Cat heard about it. Yeah. Facebook user heard about it. Marie did too. Yeah. People heard that. I'm not the only one. Yeah, it's an urban legend, but I don't know. Maybe true, maybe not.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she had a nice dinner to celebrate yesterday.
Why do we have to be aware of that? There's like 3 people that are hermaphrodites in the world. Why do we? You know what I mean?
I don't know, but I'm so pleased that the official spokesman for the Department of State took time to recognize and celebrate Intersex Awareness Day. So if you think the State Department isn't working hard, obviously you're wrong.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we do have, hostages with Hamas still, just so everybody's aware.
We're trying to celebrate intersex. Would you stop?
Right. They're there.
Leah, thank you. Leah says, Snowflake's nightmare. I live in Israel. I am under threat of rocket fire. I don't want war either. How about I pay for you to fly to Israel, cross into Gaza, and nicely ask Hamas to stop? Sound fair? She must be getting some crap in the comments.
You just need to stand in front of them and go, don't.
I've heard that works. Mm-hmm. I've heard that works really well.
And then give them some money. Give them some pallets of cash. It also works.
Jamaal Bowman, who we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, it was discovered that he turned himself in to face criminal charges for pulling the fire alarm on that day that he did it. And so that happened. And then he had some sort of a deal with the Capitol Police that he was just going to pay a $1,000 fine. And then everything would be forgotten as long as he just behaved himself for 3 months. Well, yesterday, I don't know why it took so long, because you remember his statement after the fact, when he admitted to pulling the alarm, he tried to say that there were signs that were really confusing and he was just trying to exit and there were signs, you guys, and he didn't mean anything by it. Well, now there's video, and why the video didn't come out the same day as the photo, I have no idea, but the video paints an entirely different picture. There's the signs. I'm just going to take these down. We don't need these. I'm just going to rip these down and pull the damn alarm. That's what really happened.
So we got a sweet deal, right? He got a really sweet deal there.
Super sweet.
But that's really interesting because I heard that no one was above the law. That's what I've heard.
Well, he's got the D behind his name.
So no one's above the law except Democrats.
Right. And reporters caught up with him on a couple different occasions yesterday about this. And he's just well, you'll hear him. And
pay the fine. 3 months from now, it'll be dismissed, and I'll be able to just continue to serve my district.
You mean it'll be dismissed? It'll be expunged from your record?
I believe so. Yes.
That's the deal.
Yes. Yeah.
With Capitol Police.
ACD, the DCAG.
Okay.
Yeah. Not trying to disrupt any, official government proceedings. So I'm glad, the investigation found that was the case. The misdemeanor charge of pulling the alarm, I admitted that from the very beginning. So, gotta take responsibility.
Oh,
he's gonna take responsibility.
You're really taking responsibility there, Jamaal. Yeah. That's what a douche canoe this guy is. Yeah.
It's so infuriating.
These Democrats, they just get away with everything, don't they?
It pays to have the D behind your name for sure.
It really does. Yeah. I mean, Trump would have gotten another indictment like that. Yeah. For like a hangnail, he gets an indictment. Mm-hmm.
Which, speaking of, he may be in some trouble again because
expired milk in his fridge. He had expired milk.
Well, no, but remember how he got fined the $10,000 because he can't keep his mouth shut about like people in the courtroom, the judge and whatever. So he got fined the $10,000 and then he went on True Social to complain about the fine for the $10,000 and proceeded to then denigrate the judge and the prosecutors and all the people that he's not supposed to. So now he's probably going to be looking at harsher punishments, but I don't know. They might just be like, whatever, this is just how he is. Yeah. So anyway, that he may be in trouble or he may not. I don't know. It is time for your whack. And I don't know if you just want to tell, like you want to do it.
Well, it's a fear of mine now. You know,
really?
Now that I've read the story, it's kind of a fear. Now, you and I both will sleep with earplugs.
Cannot sleep without them.
You have the fancy ones. I just use the ones that you use for shooting, you know, like those little squishy ones. But, you know, I go to sleep a little bit before my family does. And we live it's not a very big house. And so they're like right on the outside of my door and it's a 1-story. And so I can hear what's going on. And so in the other room. So I usually sleep with earplugs. And so I don't think this is ever going to happen to me, but this chick was hearing noises, like a noise in her left ear. When I say noise, like kind of a weird, you know, like sometimes you just like get like ringing and stuff in your ear. And she heard like a weird sound in her ear. And she was like, that's so weird. And she had trouble sleeping for like 3 nights. And then she went to the doctor and they found the most disgusting thing in her ear, you guys. Oh my God. And so you have to listen to this story.
Okay. It's in 2 parts and it's on TikTok. So she is a phenomenal storyteller and you are going to
freak out. You're going to freak out.
It comes in 2 parts because the first part she was at the doctor's office. The second part she had like composed herself enough to actually tell the full story. And the full story is riveting. Okay.
It's just disgusting.
But before we get to it, I need to remind everybody to get their MyPillow 2.0. If you don't have your MyPillow 2.0 yet, 50% off right now when you go to mypillow.com/chicks.
Do it.
Enter code chicks. That will get you the 50% off the queen size or any size of the MyPillow 2.0. That's the one that has like the temperature regulating threads. So awesome. You can also get big fat discounts on anything and everything when you use code chicks at mypillow.com/chicks. Okay. So first, the video of hers that went completely viral. It's the shorter of the 2. Here she is.
Okay. Oh my God.
Well, they confirmed that there is something in my ear. She goes, there's something in there. It's not a moth. Wonderful. She adds that it's curled up back there.
Oh my God.
I'm waiting for the nurses to come back and flush my ear out.
Oh my God.
I am so embarrassed, first of all, because that's so gross and I'm a clean person. But I'm also like, it's an uneasy feeling. There's a bug in my ear.
Oh God.
It was a spider.
It was a spider, you guys.
I threw up. I'm never sleeping
Oh
again.
God.
Okay, so that was what first
there was a
came
spider,
out.
you guys. Like the pictures. Oh my God.
Oh my God. But it's worse because then she tells the whole story. And if you don't sleep in earplugs after hearing this, I don't even know. But listen to the story.
I think I'm finally ready to share the spider in my ear experience. And I would like to clarify that I deal with traumatic experiences with humor. So if you see me smiling and laughing, that is because I'm traumatized. I will do a quick recap of what happened before I got to urgent care. About 4:45, 5 a.m., I wake up out of a dead sleep. Don't really know why. Go to the bathroom, go to lay back down. And as I'm getting comfortable, I feel something in my ear. I thought it was the tassels on the end of my comforter. So I went back to sleep. About 10, 15 minutes later, I wake up again. And this time I hadn't quite fallen asleep enough that I actually felt something move in my ear.
Oh my God.
And I sat straight up. And this is not okay. The feeling can only be described as something fluttering in your ear. Google what to do if you think you have something in your ear. All of these remedies I wasn't comfortable using, like putting oil in your ear or flushing your ear out. So I decided to play it safe, wait until urgent care opened at 8 and just go there, get to urgent care. I get all checked in. I'm sitting in the waiting room and I feel it again. But this time it was painful. Like it felt like a big clump of wax moving at like the base of my eardrum. It was so uncomfortable. I started to cry in the waiting room for 2 reasons. One, that was pretty uncomfortable. And 2, I was convinced it was wax. And now I had felt embarrassed for showing up at urgent care for wax. Now with the nurse who's taking my vitals and she's asking me what's going on. I'm telling her everything. And I told her I was really nervous that I was there because I now am convinced it's just wax and I overreacted, but she reassured me that it's great that I came in, leave it to the professionals to check everything out, you know, basically reassured me that I made the right call coming in. So another nurse comes in, she's checking my ears. She checks this one first, and she checks this one, and she confirms my worst nightmare. She said, there is something in your ear. It doesn't look like a moth though, and it's curled up in the back. Wonderful. There's something in my ear, and I'm so glad I didn't see anything when I checked with like my flashlight and camera. You would have had to call 911. Like I would have just died on the floor right there. So the first lady comes back in and she's got all the stuff to flush my ear out. She's telling me like what's going to happen. And I start to cry like, oh honey, like it's okay. Kids get stuff stuck in their ears all the time. We do this all the time. That's, you know, it's okay. And in my head, I'm like, I didn't put a bead in my ear. There is a creature in my ear.
Oh my God.
I'm not nervous about this hurting, nervous for what we're trying to flush out. But I didn't tell her that. I just said, you know, thank you. I'm holding the cup right here and she's just going to town, squirting. And I can feel the water just flushing. Nothing is happening. No movement. We're dumping out the water. She's in the process of refilling the water bottle. We're not spraying at this point. And I feel stuff moving. And I'm like, oh my God, something's moving. Something's moving. I felt whatever that was crawl out of my ear. And I was tilting my head like this, and I watched out of the corner of my eye something fall and land on my screen. Oh, God. I should have known this wasn't just a normal little bug when the nurse jumped back a step. Like instinctively, she kind of jumped back and then immediately comes back over and is like pulling on my sweater because it was alive on me. So I stand up and I am doing like this as it falls from my shoulder to the floor, and I watch it crawl. I watch this black spider with all 8 legs crawl across the fucking floor. Now would be a good time to let you know that in a fight or flight response, I fly. I'm gone. And I screech. And within a second, I'm on the other side of the office. I feel so bad because this nurse hears the commotion, rounds the corner. She sees me first. My eyes are wide open. My hand is clutching my chest as I'm like trying to breathe because all oxygen has escaped me. Words don't know how to freaking talk. And all I can say is spider. And in about 2 minutes, I go from trying to breathe to heaving.
I hope they killed it.
These nurses try to find a container to put over the spider. So fast forward, like 5 or 10 minutes has passed. The guy, the little spider, is chilling in his little container, his new home, not my ear, his new home, which is the hospital floor and some clear container. And another nurse has me sitting down and they've got like a cold compress on the back of my neck and a bottle of water. And they're telling me like, it's okay. They're making sure I calm down. And looking back, I'm sure they knew I was having a panic attack, but in the moment, like I couldn't figure out why I reacted the way I reacted. Like I was so embarrassed that was the first thing I did was cry and throw up. I walked into that office with a bug in my ear and I left that office without the bug in my ear or my dignity. No, I did not get a picture.
She didn't get a picture of the spider.
Mike said it's the Spider Woman origin story. I love that so much. Oh my God.
Can you even?
Yeah, listen, I would have been really freaked out.
Oh my God.
Not a lot that freaks me out, like body wise, like I've been through some stuff, but like having a spider in my ear would have freaked me out. That would have completely freaked me out. So yeah. So I don't want anything crawling in my ears or like if you're a mouth breather at night, like that is a concern.
They say that you swallow like, 10 spiders over your lifetime without even realizing it. God. Yeah. That's like a legit stat that people eat spiders in their sleep all the time.
Oh my God. You guys. Yeah. So yeah, that happened. So she had a spider in her ear.
That was alive and stayed alive for so long and through all of the drowning. I mean, like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Anyways, you may want to start putting earplugs in your ears now.
Yeah, for real. Like, there's no way I'm ever not sleeping with it.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
So that happened. That happened, everybody, and that's whack.
Here's a nice reminder about all of the taxes that we all pay.
What is something that doesn't make sense to you, but we encounter it every day? I'll go first. The fact that each of us are not only heavily taxed on our hard-earned paycheck, but we are also taxed on everything that we purchase with that paycheck. And we pay taxes on things that we already own, that we already paid taxes on when we purchased it with our already taxed paycheck. So a large portion of the money that we earn for our labor, skill, and time, we don't even see because it goes towards taxes. And then when we use the remaining money to buy gas or living necessities, we pay even more to taxes with money that was already taxed to begin with. And then the store in which we bought those living necessities from is also taxed on that same money. And finally, the cycle begins again by taxing the employee's paycheck that sold us the goods. And yet, somehow, the entity that receives all of this tax money from every citizen and every business is still over $33 trillion in debt. Confused? Me too.
No, I'm not. It's just, yeah. I mean, and then you're taxed when you die, and then your kids are taxed when you die. So
Right.
This is, yeah. I mean, she's young. She's just not learning this.
You're
know what I
just
mean?
getting started.
Congratulations, sweetheart. Welcome to adulthood.
Oh
This
my
is why we're all
gosh.
bitchy and grumpy.
Just to spur you along your journey of wanting cats, here are cats playing patty cake, only they have different lyrics.
Cutting up, I want a mouse. Cutting your mouse as fast as I meow. What the hell? You fucked it up, Marcus. Let's do it again. Cutting up, I want a mouse. Cutting your mouse as fast as I meow.
Do they all
Swallow
do
it,
this?
lick it, and pierce it with your
I've
teeth.
never seen this
Put it in the litter for
They're
you
not
and
even
me.
naked.
Cutting up, I want a mouse.
only the
Cutting
naked
your
ones.
mouse as fast as I meow. Swallow it, lick it, and pierce it with your teeth. Put it in the litter for you and me. Oh, what the fuck? Cutting up.
It's like, I thought all of the naked Sphinx cats did it, and it's actual real cats do it.
Oh, they all. I just have never seen cats do it for that long. I mean, they obviously do this at each other, but like to do it for that long, that's amazing.
I need
amazing,
cats, you guys. I do need cats.
There are.
I see a cow.
Oh, I wasn't even going to play the cow, but I will. I will play the cow if you want me to play the cow because she's hilarious. That cow owner.
I need
love
the
her.
cow. Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, there's a bunch of people. This is like a duet of several different videos. But the initial person is saying, "Have you ever found out that you pronounced a word wrong that like continues to haunt you to this day? That you ever said that word wrong?" And the examples that people gave are my favorite thing.
It's a word you pronounced incorrectly one time and it still haunts you to this day.
Hepatitis.
Chihuahua. Chihuahua.
Paradigm. Paradigm. Why does it have a fucking G?
Fatagoo.
Fatagoo.
Stomachaches. Stomachaches.
Stomachaches. I love that.
Stomachaches.
It should be
I think about it
stomachaches.
all the time.
Yosemite. Because it's supposed to be Yosemite, not Yosemite or Kansas. Because Kansas is Kansas. So how come all of a sudden Arkansas is Arkansas? And last but
She
not
has a
least,
great point
Connecticut.
there.
Because it's supposed to be Connecticut, not Connecticut.
Shit take. I don't want any shit take mushrooms on my cheeseburger. Who knew shiitake was spelled that way?
It's a word you pronounce.
I love those so
That
much.
was really good. Those were all good. Shit take. I don't want to hear shit take mushrooms.
All right, you wanted the cow.
I love the cow already.
You're gonna love this cow, and you're gonna love this cow owner even more. She's hilarious.
Hey, you want to know the best part about pet cows, other than the fact that they're just big dogs? The cuteness aggression. Because here's the thing: we all have it. You see a cute cat, you see a cute kid, you just want to squeeze it, you know, but you can't. You can't with these. Her face is the size of my body, so I can just give her.
It's true.
And she doesn't care. That didn't hurt. She loved it.
It's true. It's so true.
That's such a forceful kiss. Didn't even affect her. Look, I can slap instead of a boop, and it doesn't hurt her because she's big girl. She's big girl. Just,
oh my God, it's so true. I love her, and I love that cow.
See, I got it. You can get it out. She doesn't mind. You give her some scratches, she's like, squeeze the shit out of me. And look,
it's so true.
Ready? You can do a full body cuteness aggression.
Oh my God, I love this whole thing.
Better. Great. 10 out of 10 recommend. Hey.
She reminds me of the chick from Bridesmaids. What is her name?
Yes, McCarthy. What's her name?
She's like Melissa McCarthy with
Melissa,
a cow.
yeah.
Oh my God, I love her. I absolutely love her. I have to follow her. You got to tell me what her account is.
Hang on, let me look at it. It is
you want to know the best
M.
Evans.
Lacey Mevins.
Lacey Mevins.
Lacey Mevins. I love her.
Yeah,
God, I love that cow too.
That cow is so chill.
So chill. Yeah.
Can you do that? Can you ride your cow?
I could do that with Gunner, but Linus would not allow me to do that. Linus would get up and buck me off. I mean, if I drive my car down the driveway, Linus is all like, woo, he's so hyper. But Gunner is super chill. So some cows are chill and they're like dogs. I mean, she's right. They're just like dogs.
What kind is that? Because it's so furry.
I don't know what kind that is. You guys know what kind that is? I should know that.
Fuzzy furry.
It's a fuzzy furry. Is it a Hereford? Is that a Hereford, you guys?
It's just so cute.
I don't know what kind of cow that is. Somebody should know. There's got to be a farmer
furry
out there, but beautiful cow, absolutely gorgeous cow.
There was another crossbred. There's another video of her like laying on the cow, and she calls it her couch.
Oh my gosh! Somebody said it's a Charlemagne, and somebody said it's a Charlet. So I don't know. Could be Hereford, not a Hereford.
Highland. Somebody says Highland.
I don't think it's a Highland because we had Highlands out here, and they're like more the furry ones that are like the Scottish looking Highlands. I don't think it's a Highland. A Charlet or a Charlemagne. Yeah, it's just a white cow.
You need a furry one.
Yeah, they get so hot out here in Texas. So ours are more like the really, the Brahmins are almost bald. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
They're sort of like Sphinx cows. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll finish it off with the singing dog, who is now showing off his tricks with a new guest. And so the pitch, I'm telling you, the pitch is getting better and better.
Here we go. Ready? We're going to sing with Bobby. Oh, you do it, Bobby. Oh. Beautiful. That was a good note. That was very good. That was very good. Don't laugh. She gets very, very worried if you laugh at her. Here we go. Oh. Oh. Good girl. That
amazing.
Beautiful. That was
absolutely amazing.
Oh. Yes, that was
remarkable.
That was beautifully. Here we go. Here we go. Ready?
Isn't that amazing? I just love that dog so much.
I know. It's just remarkable. I can't sing that well. All right. I get Astrid for a Friday flap, Astrid. You guys. Hold on.
There's got to be some Friday flapularity. I was kind of half expecting that cow to flap when she gave it the big kiss on the side of his face, right? Were you guys expecting that? But that cow is way too chill. That cow is way too chill to do some flappage. Her mom is there. She's going to come on the show at some point.
She was getting kind of lazy. My mom, somebody asked where my mom is. She's in the cabin, Brenda. We have a cabin that's kind of up the way.
There's flaps already.
Did she flap already? He flapped already. Mm-hmm. It was a premature flap. It was a premature one. Mwah! Yeah, we have a little cabin that we lived in when we've had the cabin here for like 8 years. And so she stays in the cabin. She kind of likes it out there because she has her independence and she can chill out and sleep in. She's a sleeper inner.
Yeah, that's why it's going to be tough to have her show up on the show.
Mm-hmm. She's a night owl and a sleeper inner is what
we're hoping for an appearance though before she leaves.
Yes, definitely. I'll try to convince her to do that probably sometime next week.
Okay.
So we'll do that. Did we already bring it in?
We did not.
We will bring it in. You guys have the best weekend ever. I hope you have lots of awesome plans. We're doing a trunk or treat tonight. Kind of excited.
Oh, you know what I'm doing? I don't even know if I've told you this.
What?
Me and the whole family, my husband and my son, we are going to get gun training from Guy Relford.
Oh my gosh, how fun!
We're gonna go shooting with Guy.
Fun. I love that Guy, the gun guy. Tell him I said hi. Give him a big hug for me. I love
We're
that.
super stoked.
I miss him. I miss his sweet face. We'll tell him hi. Have fun with that. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will talk to you on Monday.